Hey, what is going on, everybody? I am here to give you my last movie review of the week. Yes, this is my last movie review. If you've been watching me on this channel, I did 7 movie reviews this week, which is actually pretty cool. I did my I did the interview, and then I did the game plan, starring Dwayne Johnson, or you can call him The Rock for short. Then I did Bruce Almighty, and oh wow, I'm getting a lot of Facebook. Oh wow, wow. Okay, I'm just gonna silence my phone because it's gonna keep sending me stickers. Okay, so I think he's trying to kill my phone, so I'm gonna call him or something. So yeah, then I did Bruce Almighty. Let me actually check my because that threw me off in a way. So I did the interview first, then I did the game plan starring Dwayne Johnson, and then I did Bruce Almighty, Dr. Giggles, Eyes of a Stranger, and yesterday I did Little Man. So they're all on that on my channel. You can go find them, and that should be all fine and good. And yeah, this is going to be the last one I do this week, and then next week I'm going to move on to a different topic, which you'll find out about tomorrow. And it should be pretty fun. So, this movie is part of the 6th, Dead Collection series that Dr. Giggles and Eyes of a Stranger is part of. It's called Deadly Friend, and as you can see, it is created by Wes Craven, who is the creator of Nightmare on Elm Street, which stars Freddy Krueger, which I think is pretty awesome. And that's pretty cool stuff. So luckily I have the DVD, so I'll show you what it looks like. This is what the front looks like. It shows a woman in the front, and then it shows Deadly Friend, and it shows the title, Laney Morty. I think he was the, and then it shows the opening, and then the back. You can see the girl right there, and you can see all the death scenes that I'm going to talk about later. And I'll read the back. It says, a Breakfast Club version of Bride of Frankenstein. Eventually being really scared. Have we got a pal for you? Wes Craven, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Red Eye directs. Oh, he directed it. He didn't make it. A witty gold story. Karen James, The New York Times, that combines artificial intelligence with all too genuine horror. Lonely teenage genius Paul, who is played by Matthew Labertiugs, I don't know how to say his name, a specialist in brain research, has 2 best friends, his remarkable robot BB and the beautiful girl next door, Christy Swanson. That's who plays this girl, but you're gonna find out what her name is later on. When tragedy strikes both his friends, he desperately tries to save them both by pushing technology beyond its mortal limits into a terrifying new realm. Like a modern-day Dr. Frankenstein, Paul discovers too late that he has created a rampage monster. Your blood will run cold, if it runs at all, after meeting this deadly friend. And then it says what I just said in Spanish. So, that's what it says on the back. Now let me give you my review of Deadly Friend. And this movie, I should mention, and I didn't show you the DVD itself yet. This is what the DVD looks like. I think it looks pretty cool. Alright, so, this movie came out on October 10th, 1986, if you live in the United States. Which I think is cool. Does it say anything about the release date, actually? Well, they were supposed to do a remake. I'm going to talk about that. Okay. So, I'm gonna talk about the remake because I just found out about that after I'm done reviewing this movie. So the movie starts out with this criminal, and he's trying to steal either cigarettes or money out of this woman's car. That's normally what people probably go after when they try to steal after their cars. They don't take the car itself, but and he he sees somebody in the back. And we find out it's a robot named BB. And the robot chokes him, and then when Paul, who I just talked about, and his mom, we find out her name is Jane, later on, come out. He lets go, the BB lets go, and the guy hides, and BB locks the door like nothing happened, which I thought was actually a pretty good move that BB protected their property. So then we find out that they move in. They're not to a new place, and they get to the new house. BB, well, we can see what BB sees. It's all kind of like blowy and stuff. And we find out he made the guy Paul is like really smart. He made this robot. He's constantly doing like learning, and he gets out, and there's the newspaper boy. He just ends up gets creeped out, sees BB and gets creeped out and falls, and he sees him, and he's like, who is this? And we find out this guy's name is and this actually was a book too. I didn't even know that. We find out that guy's name is Tom Toomey. I think that's how you say his name. They become friends, pretty much. He meets BB, and it's all good. We find out that Paul, and his last name is Conway, so that's obviously his mom's last name. We find out that he has like a scholarship to go to a really good college. I forget the name of the college, which I think is cool. So, and he's supposed to be like in 10th grade, so or a sophomore, but it doesn't end up happening that way. And we find out he had to lift BB up over the steps, so they have to get a ramp for that. And BB's cat actually pretty cool. He recharges like a cell phone would, and he has like a little plug that he plugs into the wall, which on the back of him when he recharges, which I think is cool. And then they find the attic and the tool shed, find all that unique stuff, and what happens next? We find out before this had even happened that somebody was watching Paul. We have no clue who it was. We're going to find out, I think, later. Then Paul goes to his new college, and he has his own little lab and everything there, which is cool. And then Paul, BB actually mows the lawn, which is actually really cool. That was actually cool. And Paul meets, and he meets this girl that's actually pretty hot. We find out, and Paul meets her, and he has like an instant love for this girl. And her name is Samantha Pringle. I think that's how you say her last name. And they meet, and he's like, "You want to come over now? You know, you can." And then her door opens, and she's like, "I can't." And we see that she got like a bruise, because earlier we heard corruption going on, like somebody was beating the crap out of someone when Paul moved in. And you're gonna find out more about this later. So then Paul asked Tom about this guy, about Samantha, And when he asked about that, about how the girls, how Tom says that they're all stuck up. And when she mentions Samantha, he's like, ooh, she has nice tits, which was actually really funny. And he finds out that that it's not worth trying because the father, Mr. Pringle, will get to you. He'll attack you. So then Tom's doing his newspaper route, and we meet this, and he talked about this crazy old lady. Her name is Vera Parker. I'm just gonna call her Mrs. Parker, because that's what they called her in the movie. And he meets this girl though. And we find out she's crazy. She has like a fence with a combination. And Baby was there too, with the combination on it. That because she's afraid of people, she's just pretty much insane. When she came, and then she comes out and points like a shotgun. Well, it was a shotgun at Bob and Paul, which I thought was like pretty weird. And she's just a huge, crazy old lady. I thought the crazy old lady in Dr. Giggles was pretty crazy, but, well, she was just crazy anyways. But no, this lady was just nuts. She does not like people at all. I have a feeling she probably doesn't have a family or something. So, they make fun of her. And then we meet this new guy, Chuck, and he has all his biker gang with him. He's like a thug. And he sees Phoebe and he starts slapping him around because he's just treating him pretty much like crap. And he pushes Paul, and Paul gets hold by the other guys. And we never find out their names. And then Phoebe grabs Chuck by the balls. And Paul threatens to have him call off his guys, or just have Phoebe crush his balls. No, BB crush his balls. So he does so. And then they leave. It was actually a pretty good scene, I guess. It was funny. It was fine. So what happens next? Samantha, or Sam, you can just call her Sam, comes over. She doesn't bring anything. She doesn't bake anything. She just brings like something store bought. And obviously they still love each other. They talk. They just get to know each other. He sends her into his room and he's like, this is the first time I've had a girl in my room. He's just like, I bet you've said that to. I bet I'm not the first girl you said that to. And then her father comes over and says, I'm looking for my daughter. She wasn't supposed to leave the house or something like that. So then she says, we were just studying. She tells her father that. And he apologizes for them, but for her bothering them. And Jane says, no, she wasn't bothering us at all. And he says, it won't happen again. And she apologizes, and then they leave. That was cool. So then back at her house, Samantha's father comes in the room and he's like, have you been telling them lies? You're just going to be like your mother. You're useless. Just talking bad to her. And he starts attacking her. And she stabs him with a flower vase, like a little tiny one. And he's like, and he just completely is just all fine afterwards. He just makes the blood just spurts right on her. And she's like, I'm not unstoppable. You can't hurt me. BB, the robot can't hurt me. That boy can't hurt me. No one can hurt me. You can't be safe. It was all a dream. So I can't really complain about the illogicalness because it was all a dream. And then she gets scared and puts the chair in front of her door. And then Paul is teaching like how to, because he did show us what BB's brain looks like, and he's always upgrading, and he's always improving like our brains are, because he's like a big brain surgeon. He's interested in brains, like the movie, the back of the movie just talked about, and he's teaching about that, and then later on in the movie, because I think, and as this is happening, he shows it shows BB, Samantha, Tom and Paul playing basketball, and then and they're doing pretty good actually, and then BB tries to play, and he just throws the basketball, and it goes across the over Mrs. Parker's fence. So when she sees it, she just takes it because it's like, my property, my house, my ball. Told you, she's a huge crazy old lady. She's a crazy bitch. Then what happens next? I think Paul's in the in his lab, and he's doing brain surgery on like a mannequin, and he finds out that he did something that made like the foot move, which was pretty cool. That was, I can't really explain what happened because they kind of talked about a lot of complicated stuff that I can't understand, and I'm not like a brain. I don't know anything really about the brain, so you know. So what happens next? They're getting ready for Halloween, I think, is the next scene. And I thought that was cool. And then Samantha or Sam comes over, and she has a bloody nose, of which she doesn't say why she has the bloody nose. She says that it's because she just gets him. But really, I think her father probably, beat the crap out of her, abused her. She doesn't really, and Jane says, you should, say something. You should call the police because this is abuse. And Sam says, he's my father. As much as I want to run him over with a truck, he's still my father. So she doesn't want to say anything. Then Sam, Paul, and Tom are pulling like a bunch of pranks on people. And then then they go to Mrs. Parker's house, and Tom wants to pull a prank on him, and he wants BB to open up the gate to get in, and Paul doesn't want him to because he doesn't want to take the risk, but he does it, but he has him do it anyways. Tom talks him into it, and the way he does it is he just tries like a bunch of combination codes till it works, which is pretty much what we would do anyways, but he just tries them all. And then he gets the gate open, and he has this remote too that can turn BB off, which I thought was cool. And Sam goes to knock on the door, ring the doorbell. She does it, and then like a siren goes off, so they hide. And then randomly BB just wakes back up when Mrs. Parker comes out with her shotgun. And Paul's trying to use the remote to get him to stop, but he can't. And she just uses a shotgun and kills BB, just blows him up into pieces. And Paul obviously is forced to watch this because he can't go over there because there's a shotgun there. So Paul's all depressed. And then, and it wasn't very long. He was fine afterwards. Him and Sam kiss. He was all fine afterwards. And then Sam comes home from Paul's house, and she doesn't see her father sitting on the couch, because that's where he was before. And she asks, so then when her father pops up, and we find out, I guess I can mention that his name is Harry Pringle, and he slaps her right in the face, and he's like, "What were you doing?" He's like, "I was studying." So then he slaps her again, she falls down the stairs, and her head hits the wall, and she's like, out. There's blood coming out of her mouth. That was a pretty cool scene. So he thinks she's faking it, and he's like, "Come on, get up. Go to your room." Because he's just a huge dick. I think he's a bad man. So then when the ambulance shows up and Paul sees it, he makes up some BS story about how she left her stuff on the stairs and she tripped. My ass. So then we see, actually I forgot to mention a person that we had seen. Yeah, and also Harry's also an alcoholic, but I think you could probably already know that. I'm trying to figure out what Dr. Johansson, I think that's how you say. And there's really nothing they can do. She's not responding, so they're just gonna leave her on a machine, and if she doesn't come to in 24 hours, then they're gonna kill her. And Paul's like, nothing more they can do. Of course there is. So then Paul runs off, and he finds this picture that we didn't actually see the scene that he had taken with BB and Sam. I have no clue how much time went by then since they've seen each other. And he's gonna save him. He tells Tom, because we had found out earlier that Tom's father is a security guard for the hospital, and he has all the keys. So he wants Tom to stay over his house, and they're gonna drive down to the hospital and save Sam. And he's like, well, Tom's like, how are we gonna save Sam? So then it doesn't actually tell us how he's gonna do it. We were gonna find out later, but when he tells it, but it must have been pretty crazy, because Tom afterwards was like, what the fuck? After he said that, I thought that was hilarious. So then and they're gonna pull the plug on her at 10 o'clock. Remember that, because that gets important. They're gonna pull the plug on Sam. So then Tom and Paul just finished eating dinner, and Jane's like, you want some pie? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and then she offers whipped cream. She makes her coffee too. I'm mentioning all this because it's kind of important. And then they use this all as a distraction, though, because they put some sort of drug inside of Jane's coffee, and that's gonna pretty much put her to sleep. So then when and Tom's all nervous when she drinks the coffee. He was drinking his milk because he was so nervous, and then she's like, "Huh, man, I'm making a good coffee." And then Tom like coughs on his milk, chokes on his milk, and he makes up some BS story about that he had something stuck in his throat, but that wasn't the real reason. So Jane's starting to get tired from obvious reasons. And before she actually goes to sleep, she says we find out that they changed the time, when they were going to put Sam down. They changed it to 9. So then she just falls asleep right after she says that. It's a good thing she said that, but I'm just saying, like, out of all the times. And it was like 8:55 when they got there. Well, it was like 8:30 when they were there, and then they leave. And Paul just is in a huge rush that he doesn't even let Tom get a seatbelt on, and he hits a trash can while he's there. They pretty much commit in every law knowable. They're gonna break into a hospital, and Paul doesn't even have his license. So then they break into the building. There's a button that Tom has to hit in like 4 minutes that's going to shut everything down. And they pull the plug on Sam early. Her father's like, just do it now. Man, he doesn't even care what he did. He just doesn't care. I don't think it's just that he's an alcoholic. He just does not care. He truly just did not care about his child. So they do. And then Tom presses the button too early because there were 2 other guys in there. And there was while Paul was in the elevator, and they pulled the plug too early, but there's still a chance that they can save her. So they put BB's brain inside of Sam's. It was exactly like this movie is exactly like Frankenstein. I'm just like it says right there. It was exactly like it because they did the exact same scene. The only thing that they were missing was when was having Paul saying, "She's alive, she's alive." But he tries to use the button, nothing works, and but he says, "I saw a toe move," and then a leg, and then Tom's like, "No, I didn't move. You're just seeing things." So then a foot moves. This causes Tom to faint. And then they drive back to the house. They put Sam in the tool shed that they have. And then Tom goes back in the house, and he's like, I think you killed your mom. You might have put too much in because she was still on the couch in the same position. So he tries to wake her up, and they didn't kill her. She wakes up. I actually legit did think she was dead though. So then she goes to bed. Paul thanks Tom, and he's like, "This is because the reason why he made him do this was because Paul claims it's Tom's fault for the reason that BB even died in the first place." So yeah, and he tells him he's a true friend, but Tom just thinks he's crazy, thinks he's fucked up. So then Paul goes in the tool shed and turns BB's remote on. Now Sam's remote, and Sam is all fine. She's breathing and everything. She can't sit up on her own, and eventually Paul teaches her how to sit up by herself. And then Paul wakes up that night, and Sam's just standing by herself. I don't know if it was the next day or the next night, but Sam's completely able to stand, which is weird. And she sees her father. And you're going to find out what happens with this. So then the next morning, Jane's pissed at Tom. But no, not Paul, because he had his new sleeper bag she bought him when he was there, while they were, and she's like, "I'm making the money, and you need to show me more respect. When you can do that with your sleeping bags." And he makes out some, but then he sees that he sees that there's no Samantha. Samantha's just gone, so he tries to go find her, and then we see that Samantha's father, is, I'm looking, Harry, is in his house, and he sees that downstairs the furnace is on fire, not in a good way. And then he goes downstairs, and then Sam grabs him from the stairs, and then trips him, and he falls down the stairs and hits his head on the trash can, on some trash cans that were down there, the exact same way that Sam fell, except this didn't kill him because he didn't hit the wall. So then and now we get to see Sam walk for the first time. Remember I had said this is like Frankenstein? She walks completely exactly like Frankenstein. She walks like this. Let me see if I can... Oh, I can't do it. She walks with both her hands like this, and then has her hands out. Like Frankenstein would walk like this. She walks like this, with her hands out. It looked kind of weird. And Harry's shocked to see that she's alive. So he tries to hit her with a shovel, and Sam blocks it, throws the shovel like it's a spear, and then she bends Henry's arm back really far, and then chokes Henry against the furnace, and I guess she breaks his neck because he was dead after this. And then Paul still didn't find her. I mean, he looked everywhere except inside her house. I don't know why he wouldn't think she'd be there, but he sees the smoke going up from the chimney, so he realizes she must be there. And then we see that Henry's head's inside the furnace, so he's burned to death. So he buries him. So Paul buries him inside the wall, I guess. And then Paul realizes he can't leave Sam in the tool shed, so he's gonna find a new spot. So he just puts him in his room for now. So then I guess she got out again, but I'm gonna tell you why in a second. So then we see Mrs. Parker, and she's just across the street. She looks out a window and she sees Sam right across the street in Paul's house. And she calls the police about it, but they just think he's nuts. That she's nuts, so they don't even go over there, I guess. But I mean, the weird part about it is no matter what, even if you call the cops, the cops are supposed to come to your house, even if it isn't an emergency. So I thought that was weird. And the weirdest part was that she needed the operator to call the police. Like, she didn't know the number. I'm just saying. But then Sam gets out of the house though, and gets the combination to Mrs. Parker's gate like BB did, because obviously she has BB's brain. And Mrs. Parker sees that the gate's open, so then she grabs her shotgun and tries to defend herself, and then we hear the basketball, and it goes inside the room, and then she puts a shotgun down because she thinks everything's all fine, and then Sam attacks her from behind and grabs the basketball and just completely throws it really hard, and it hits Mrs. Parker right in the head, and her head comes off. And then the other part just looks weird, like her body is just walking, like it walks like it's a headless chicken, pretty much. Like it looked really weird. Like if you've seen this movie, then you know what I'm talking about. And I hope everyone that's watching this video has seen this movie, because you can't say, "Oh, you're spoiling it for me." No, you can't. If you haven't seen the movie, you shouldn't be watching this, because then you're destined to get yourself, you're destined to have spoilers happen to you. But that was a good scene. I like that. And Paul finds out about it later. Some old guy tells him about it, and Paul obviously knows the reason, and so does Tom. He was there. He faints, and he rides his bike away. He didn't say anything. I think something happened before that. Oh, I know. Paul went to grab, was feeling guilty. He had a nightmare about Henry coming out of the bed with his burnt face, and then he tries to grab a glass of milk, and then he sees Sam, and he gets scared and drops his milk, and then has her go outside to hide her, and so that way his mom won't see her. And they had that scene going on, and then nothing a lot happened there. So then what happens the next? Then Sam sees. Oh, then Paul finally found a place for her to go. She puts her up in the attic, but then she's able to get out because she opens the door and breaks it, and he originally locked it. He doesn't break the door, but he breaks part of the edging of the door. And then she finds the picture of Paul, BB, and Sam, and Sam's confused about this because she's like, "What happened? What happened?" And Jane was home, and she thinks that's Paul upstairs, but then Paul comes home from the store, and she's like, "I thought I heard you." He's like, "No." And he knows why the really doesn't happen. And then Samantha shows Paul the picture that she took, and is like, yeah, he doesn't really know what to say. So then he gets a phone call from Tom, and he even tells Sam, "Why don't you listen to me?" So then Tom's like, "I have to tell the police. This is eating me alive. I can't keep this a secret anymore." And then Paul says that he just give him a half hour to explain everything before you do that. So I guess he does it. He agrees. And then before that scene happens with that, we find out Paul hasn't been going to college because Dr. Johansson or whatever, Dr. Johan or whatever his name is, came and talked to Jane about it, and he tells her about it, and then Paul shows Tom what Samantha's like now, or Sam, and she goes to shake his hand just like BB did earlier in the movie, and then he gets creeped out about it, and he's gonna tell the police, and they get into a big fight. They just kind of wrestle each other down, and then Paul just punches Tom right in the face, and he gets a bloody nose, and he's like, and Paul tries to apologize, and then Jane, Paul's mom comes home and says, we have to have talk later, and she sees Tom's bloody nose and is like, what happened? And he's like, well, what happened is you have a crazy son, and I'm going to call the police about this, and you know what I'm talking about, and he points upstairs. So then he goes to leave, and then Sam pops out of the window and attacks Tom, and Jane tries to break it up, but she gets taken down, and Paul's like, what are you doing? You trying to kill him? So then he slaps Sam, and this gets, I guess, upsets Sam, so she runs away, and then Paul chases her, and Tom is just down on the floor, ground laid out. And then while Paul is chasing her, we see Chuck pull back up. No, his name's Carl, not Chuck. I think I called him Chuck last time, but his name's actually Carl. And he's like, and he taunts Paul, says like, "Where's your little robot now?" And just starts attacking him. And then Paul attacks him. He puts up a decent fight, and then he tackles him off his scooter. And then Tom throws, Carl throws Paul and boxes, and just starts beating the crap out of him. And then he hears Sam come, and I guess he thought Sam was dead, so he's shocked to see her. And then Sam picks Carl up over her head, and the police come, and one of them's name was Sergeant Volchik, I think that's how you say his name. And he tells him to drop the kid. Well, before he actually even says anything, she throws Carl onto the police car, and he says, wow, he nearly threw him 30 feet. So then Paul continues to chase Sam. And the police find her again, but then she jumps over the police car and lands on her feet. And then Paul finds her back at the tool shed. She's like, we can get help from this. Let's get help. And then she's starting to see things like in a human's point of view instead of a robot's point of view. So that I guess she agrees. And Sergeant Volcane comes again, or Volchik, whatever you say, however you say his name, and tells him to step away. And then they hold Paul back, and Sam finally says Paul's name. She starts to walk towards him, and then Volchik shoots Sam right in the ribs, and she dies. And Paul's all upset about this. So then they're going to perform an autopsy the next day. Dr. The Dr. Joe Anson is going to be there, and then Paul tries to save her again, and he's like, I'm going to get you out of here, and then the robot comes out of Sam's body and kills Paul. We don't actually see it though, but we pretty much are supposed to know what happens. And that was the end of the movie. I thought it was kind of a dumb idea. Like what? Like I understand Sam was pretty hot, but she wasn't worth going through all this trouble for. It's like he's sophomore. Why does he care so much about Sam? Like I don't know. It's also his own fault he died. He should have just let it go. As for the movie, I thought it was fine. It wasn't the greatest movie I ever seen. It was, but it was fine. They had a lot of stupid stuff in it. Like, it takes a while for the story to actually happen. Like, you had to sit, like, I normally don't like to wait, but, like, when I first saw this movie, I had no idea what the story was because I didn't read the back of the movie. And I didn't watch the trailer because they did have a trailer, and I didn't watch the trailer. So I was like, what the hell's the story here? I didn't know who the friend was. I didn't know it was Tom. I didn't know it was going to be Sam. I thought it was going to be Sam's father. I had no clue where the movie was going. So then so it takes a while for it. I thought BB was going to be the murderer too. He was going to like be like a robot that takes over everything, but no. Um, and it just takes forever for the story to get started, and I had no clue what the story was. So, but other than that, if now that I know what the story is, it doesn't bother me. And you have like a lot of stupid stuff, like that stupid scene when Sam threw the basketball at Mrs. Parker's head, and her body just like walked like a dead chicken. That was a dumb scene. Um, that's about it. So while I'm here, I'm gonna go through the cast, and I'm gonna kind of read a little bit and see if I can find anything about this movie. Um, so Paul Conway was played by Matthew Labortux. I already talked about that. Samantha Pringle was played by Christy Swanson. I already talked about that. Tom Toomey, I think that's how you say it, was played by Michael Shawit. I think that's how you say his last name. Ginny Conway was played by Anne Twalmy. I have no... Oh, okay. I thought her name was... Oh, her name... I think they shortened her name to Jane. They call her Jane in the movie. Harry Pringle was played by Richard Marcus. Mrs. Parker was played by Anne Ramsey. Sergeant Volchik was played by Lee Paul. BB's voice was played by Charles Fieldsher. I think that's how you say it. Dr. Johansson was played by Russ Maurin. And Carl was played by Andrew Warburton. I don't know how to say his last name. So then that's the cast. They talk about, so there's a book about this too. And they talk about what the difference is from the book, so I'm going to kind of read this. Wes Craven's original cut film was much more faithful to the source material than the final product. In the book, the reanimated Samantha becomes more and more corpse-like as the story progresses. The ending of the book is totally different from the ending in the film, in which Sam turns into a robot that closely resembles BB. Yeah, actually, the robot that came out was BB. I think you all should have. Before snapping Paul's neck off screen, the book ends at a moment in which Sam and Paul are on a bridge, fighting in the rain. Sam is on top of Paul, and Paul, thinking that Sam is trying to kill him, kisses her so hard that she goes off the railing and crashes through the ice below. Paul then realizes that Sam wasn't trying to kill him, but rather trying to take him with her, when she would have jumped anyways, because she did not want to go into the darkness alone. She wanted him with him, the final line of the book being Paul's final thought. So this is what love comes to. Actually, that would have been better than what ended in the movie, actually. Paul and Tom's nicknames in the book are Piggy and Slim, respectively, are never mentioned in the film. Mrs. Parker's last name Mrs. Parker's last name is actually Mrs. Williams. The infamous basketball decapitation scene is not present in the book. In the book, Sam murders Vera by drowning her in a bathtub. That would have made more sense than what I saw in the movie. In the film, BB is killed when Vera blows him apart with a shotgun. In the book, the shotgun is still the instrument of BB's destruction, but it is Samantha's father who wields the weapon, and he beats BB to death with it. That actually would have made more sense. In the film, Samantha and Paul are in their mid-teens. In the book, Sam is about 12 years old and Paul is only 13. I think it makes more sense if they were older, just because because he's in college and stuff. So I think it makes more sense that they were older. So I can't touch on the film. The persona of Dr. Johansson differs greatly between the book and the film. In the film, he is a friendly man who welcomes Paul to the university. That is true. In the book, well, this is interesting, he is old, stubborn, and ignorant and grouchy, clashing with Paul on several occasions. That probably would have made the film a little bit better. In the film, Harry's abuse of Sam is given little to no explanation. In the book, Harry's wife and Sam's mother, Grace, left Harry for another man because of his violent ways. thus becoming he abuses Sam. He sees it as him forcing him beating Grace because she and Sam look so familiar to one another. So why didn't Sam's mom take her with him? I don't know why. In the book, the robot's name is B. B in the book. Yeah, that's pretty much nothing different. And I guess I can talk about a little bit about what the original version was like. I don't really think. They just talk about everything that Sam and Paul actually did together, all of that. Nothing there. Now I want to hear about this alternate versions. So this is what's in the alternate version. In a scene where Samantha is dreaming about her father intruding in her bedroom, Samantha breaks a vase on her nightstand and stabs her father in the stomach with it. In the VHS release, all that is shown is blood spurting on Samantha's bed and close-ups of her father's yeah, okay. So it's all the same, it's just, I want to hear about that. So they were going to make a remake. I just talked about that in the beginning. It says, on May 2nd, 2010, Warner Bros. Was planning a remake of the film to be released in 2011 in 3D. Kristen Stewart was rumored to play the role of Sam. However, no other news regarding the remake has come since, and the project has been cancelled. Okay, so they were going to make a new one. I have no clue. It probably would have been worse. I don't know. So that's Deadly Friend. Like I said, the book sounds way better because of just the way it looks. The only thing that like the film just sounds so much worse than the book. So yeah, but I haven't read the book, so the movie's fine. But I just think it's stupid. It just sounds stupid compared to the book. But anyhow, that's my review. If you've seen this movie, you can leave your thoughts in the comments about what you thought of it. If you agree with me that this movie, they had some dumb stuff in there. Like, I definitely think that bathtub scene should have been in there instead of the basketball decapitation scene. But that's just me. But that's pretty much it, guys. You can click right here to subscribe to my channel. And I'll be back to do a new series review. Because it's not going to be evolved around movies tomorrow. Next week is going to be a whole new thing.